Welcome to 5D Channels and Chats with Rachel Chamness. As a shamanic channel and mentor, I'll be sharing wisdom and healing from higher dimensions through channeling beings of light. You will also hear liquid Reiki shamanic sound healing, channels between intuitives, and discussion on higher dimensional healing and channeling. You'll find links and more in the show notes, so be sure to check them. You can find me at soundwavesheal.com and my Facebook group, 5D Daily Spiritual Healers in Higher Dimensions. My name is Rachel Chamness. I'm at soundwavesheal.com and I'm a shamanic channel and mentor. I trance channel in higher dimensional realms by bringing in through beings of light and letting their healing and their connections to all kinds of different grids and energies that can help us. I let them connect us to that and to use their healing to bring through. So that's my favorite thing to do. And I love to show other people how to do that as well. I do have a signature class for that called Accelerated Channeling Mastery. So I'm going to trance channel Dr. Usui. Dr. Usui is the Grandmaster of Reiki. He is the one who began the practice of teaching channeled healing, like the Reiki ray or the purple ray, like the healing that we are channeling as Reiki practitioners. Well, he asked for a way to show other people how to do it or to attune other people how to do it, and he received symbols to do that. So that is what we're doing now, is bringing forward him to talk about ascension or Reiki or whatever questions we have for Dr. Usui. Basically, if you don't know about Reiki, that's what he did. He asked for a way to attune people to channeling healing in the same way that Buddha did, or you might say how Jesus did, this channeled source energy, how to focus it, how to use it to heal others. How can, people who want to do this be able to do this? So he asked for a way and he received the answer and he started Reiki. So he is the main Grandmaster of Reiki, although there are three that we recognize. And I have been bringing through Alpar Biem. Have you heard me trance channel my partner guide, who is a blue Kier or galactic being? His name's Alpar Biem, or Alpar, I call him. And he is always talking about how everyone needs Reiki right now. You should have a basic Reiki 1 attunement because it permanently uplevels you, and it's a very good way to work through a lot of your trauma and to help you a great deal with your emotions and your emotional state and your blocks and anything else that you're working on for yourself. And by doing that, you're going to really bring yourself a little bit higher in vibration, which is really needed right now in this time of ascension. In case you haven't noticed, it's a crazy time and we are really releasing a lot of stuff. Here we go. I'm going to bring forth Dr. Usui. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. Yeah, that's a great question, Shauna. I am wondering if we are at a stage on Earth where Reiki is becoming even more beneficial, asks Shauna. So let me trance channel the answer from Dr. Usui. It is of the most importance for you to have a modality that transports you into a higher vibration 100% of the time. And there are several. The one I know the best and the most easily accessible one is Reiki. I am very grateful that I was able to bring forth something that is so accessible. And Reiki is exactly that. So when you are attuned, you are brought to a higher vibration and you will stay there. You will find things falling away. You will find a marked difference between old you and new you in the 21 days between your attunement and before the attunement. And you'll experience more in the 21 days after. And yes, this is a permanent up level. Even if you have not used your attunement in years, you are still attuned. It still brought you to a new vibration. Many people attune to Reiki and then go on about their business, maybe not realizing that the new vibration now brings them to a higher level of psychic channeling. For many people, it is immediate that they begin receiving more psychic information. And for some people, it takes more time, for their guides have another path for them of understanding how that works. That's a whole other conversation. So we cannot say that Reiki promises to open your psychic senses. However, it will eventually. I hear that so much. So I want to be really clear about that. Even though I teach psychic Reiki healing, it doesn't promise that you will be completely psychic after your attunement. And there are so many people who say, I did Reiki, but my psychic senses didn't open. The thing is, it is not always that you are going to be completely blown open. Your guides may have more to teach you first for your own safety, or they might be doing it slowly and waiting for you to trust what you're getting, the small parts that you're getting that you may not be trusting. So there's a whole trust plane, I would say, with psychic healing, with psychic messages, with psychic opening. And that is, you have to start believing the small things before you get more. And of course, I teach that. It's totally free for anyone who wants to learn how to talk to their spirit guides, how to open their psychic senses. I do have a free spirit guide masterclass bundle. It will teach you a lot about how to communicate with your guides, how to have psychic boundaries, all of that. It's on my website under courses, but it's free, or it's at soundwavesheal.com/spirit guides. So, and we have a lot of great questions, so let's go on. Ashley says, what was a most profound healing experience you witnessed through Reiki while incarnate or in spirit? I have witnessed many transformations. I have seen those who were so clouded over with emotional problems, with so many problems that kept them from living in a normal society. These were beggars who were cleared, who took this attunement seriously, and who built beautiful lives for themselves, who became completely different people. I have seen this many times. You have heard the stories about the beggars, most of whom did not take the work seriously, which brought me to the Reiki precepts, which is true. However, there were a few who completely changed themselves and became such incredible healers and helpers in the world. And these were great changes. I also experienced a client who could not see, whose eyes were milky. And with 10 sessions, the milkiness began to, without explanation, recede until it was not completely gone, but light enough that this man began to see. And we had another whose right leg was so twisted that this woman was lame, and with continued healing, 15 healings, she was able to use the leg again in a much more efficient manner. She was literally untwisted so that her legs still different and her right leg still very scarred, but usable with only a limp, when before she was unable to use that leg with walking and was dragging it using a cane, unable to walk for long periods of time. And it was a miraculous healing to witness. And there are countless others in the world, but these were some of my experiences. Pamela says, once you are tuned to Reiki, are you always using Reiki, or is it possible that you may also be using your own energy, which may leave you depleted? How do you know you're actually channeling Reiki or perhaps another modality that doesn't necessarily have a name? I just want to say real quick, as Rachel, every person is using their own modality. The main reason I believe to be attuned to Reiki is that once you are, then you can wield your own modality with Reiki so that you do not get depleted. So if you are getting depleted with Reiki, then you need to check in with your Reiki master. Of course, I'm your Reiki master, so I'll be happy to help you with this, Pamela, but it's usually to do with cord cutting or other problems that you may not be realizing. So what Usui says, once you are attuned to Reiki, you are channeling Reiki. If it has been many, many years since you have channeled Reiki, it is still there. However, it may be a smaller amount. And so if you can use Reiki every day for 21 days or 40 days if you wish, you will increase that ray once again. This is not quite the question, but is one I'd like to talk about. So you can self-Reiki yourself for 21 days or 40 days if you wish, and that will bring that Reiki to full power. How do you know if you are using something else? If you are intending to use Reiki and you have been using it, and it's not been a latent Reiki attunement from many, many years ago, more than 10 years ago, then you are using Reiki. If you have another modality of your own or that you've been attuned to, it should be mixing with the Reiki and it should be combined to To be sure, you can make that intention that all modalities of the light are combined with your healing. However, that is a natural thing that happens once you begin to bring all of this through. If you're feeling tired, then it can be something else. It can be that you are depleted of your own body's necessities, such as you must have enough water to really bring through this power, and it can deplete you. Perhaps you're not completely in a state to be giving a session. If you're feeling very tired, perhaps it is that you need a clearing. And so you may not be starting at the highest amount of being able to bring the light through. For when you are channeling Reiki, you must be a clear channel to bring it through. It does also heal you. So if you're feeling that you're tired before a Reiki session that you're giving someone else, then you should definitely give yourself Reiki for a few days and see if that improves it. And if it doesn't, then you should seek your Reiki master for answers. That's a very good point. I didn't think about that. So maybe you were thirsty or hungry is what he was showing me. He didn't go into all of it, but he was showing me like you could be thirsty, you could be hungry, you could be tired from other things, and then that just drained you. So sometimes if I'm tired, I do a lot of sessions on Thursdays and Fridays, but sometimes if I'm already tired, then I can feel a little tired at the end of the day, although it does come back because, you know, you're also receiving Reiki. But most of the time, I don't feel tired from the Reiki itself. I feel, you know, it sometimes even energizes me. It doesn't wear me out. But the water thing is a really important thing because as a channel, I have to drink a lot of water. In fact, they're really on me right now because I had a lot of coffee that I need to keep drinking water. This is a great question. So what do you do when the patient is resistant to the healing or neglecting the ultimate cause? This is a very good question, and you may see that you will feel frustrated and feel that your work is not doing what it should. However, it does. If you are working on someone who is resisting, cleaning up what the root cause is, you may still help them. Each time you work on them, you will remind them that they will receive faster healing if they remove the root cause, and that if they are receiving Western medical interventions for the problem that are not truly helping, then they can be reminded of this. However, the Reiki session itself is helping them to get there, to release the resistance, to release the blocks. And so when you work on someone like this who does return, although they may not listen to the advice, you continue to remove any blocks that could be in their way. How do you do this? Hopefully you know, but if not, I will tell you. It is always, of course, intention. You may intend to remove any blocks that is keeping them from accepting their role in their own healing. And remember, you may use the Reiki master teacher techniques of giving them a healing attunement, which is a deep healing attunement and can also make a difference. I do not recommend that you do this more than once, and know that it will have a lot of detox. However, if they are asking for something that is going to make a huge difference in one day, even though it may have taken them 20 years to get to this state, and one session, of course, will not erase 20 years of choices, then you may try this on them and continue to work on removing the blocks. And remember, it is very frustrating as a practitioner to give true advice from the heart and give your time and effort to help someone heal, and they do not listen to the advice presented. However, you must have compassion and grace in these situations, for you might find sometimes to advice given to you, and it is, of course, a state of humanity. Yep, I could say that. Ashley says, yes, a gentle tug of war with trust for me as well. And looking back, every tug was needed. Very nice. Okay, Nina says, I love Reiki. I got my second attunement, but after this, I don't like doing it anymore because the energy I send feels so strong that I don't feel comfortable with my powers. I would love to use it to help other people and build maybe some business around it, but I feel too insecure. Any advice to take the next step with my practice? I love Reiki. Thank you for your work and energy, Usui. That's nice. Okay, let's see what he has to say. You have been given a great gift of a very wide array of Reiki, and yet it makes you uncomfortable. And so we recommend that you work on yourself with that strong Reiki. Give yourself 21 days, maybe, or twice a week of full session, and keep a journal on what happens. For perhaps you just need to experience what it's like and how it can be life-changing so that you can feel more comfortable with what it does. Or perhaps you should find a friend who is willing to work with the strong Reiki of yours and document their changes so that you can see that it is a gift of source, not anything detrimental. For perhaps your gift is to help those who need a very strong healing and who are willing to receive this healing even though there might be some detox afterwards. And I would like to point out that if you have some blocks around anything, you may receive a healing from someone else to help you get past these blocks. I would recommend that too, that you just get a healing to get over the blocks, or you can do it yourself since you have such a strong Reiki. My Reiki, liquid Reiki shamanic healing is so strong. And so I just let my clients know that they need to drink a lot of water, take a salt bath, that they might be tired for the next few days, but I mean, it's worth it. Hey, I'm fine with being tired for the next 3 days if you give me a super strong Reiki healing, right? I mean, that's what I paid for, right? That's what I want. So I think that you just need to get used to the idea, work it on yourself. I like what he said. So Pamela says, I didn't feel depleted lately, but when I used to do massage years ago, sometimes I felt depleted and sometimes energized. That's why I asked. That's great. So you're not receiving any problems with being depleted from your question earlier, but it's just that you're asking about that. Okay, so before, when you were doing massage, you were probably using your own healing instead of Reiki. That could have been it, and that's what made you feel depleted, and maybe sometimes not. I don't know, but I'm glad to hear you're not feeling tired after giving Reiki. Okay, so Ariana says, is it a bad thing to pull energy from the universe? Are we taking it away from someone who needs it? It's a great question. There's so many good questions. Okay, let's go back and we'll ask him. No, there is unlimited energy in the universe, and all of you are pulling that energy from source, which is a constantly re-energizing source of energy, hence the name source, or you can say universe or God or spirit or whatever moves you. This is the one that you are all of us, as I spoke in the beginning, are part of. And so everyone's energy comes from source and then will turn into its own, as I said before, flavor or type of energy, but it is all source energy in the beginning. So when you use this energy from others, they are being replenished as they share it. If you are channeling higher dimensional beings of light, or sending light language or Reiki or trance healing through you, all of this is being replenished to them through source as they send it to you. Just the same as when you wield the Reiki ray and you are using Reiki on a client, you are also receiving Reiki for yourself, and where the Reiki comes from is also being replenished. It is a law of giving and receiving. Ooh, giving and receiving is actually what my podcast was about today with my friend Ephraim, who is an alchemist elf, and you guys should watch that. It has a free activation. All right, Nina says, how to let go of the idea that the healing needs to be visible and fast so that the client is happy with your work. I know it is not the purpose, I understand this, but it's difficult to let go of their idea of what Reiki should be like and what the effect should be. If you wish to be able to describe how Reiki works, I recommend that you look up some studies on those who have been healed by Reiki, how long it took, and what was the outcome and the journey for each of them. And I recommend that you do this for yourself, that you choose someone who you work on 6 times or longer to heal something, someone who is willing, and perhaps a barter situation so that you don't need to worry about them affording or your money system getting in the way, and get a good documentation of what happens. Therefore, you can speak from experience in this matter, and that may help. And remember that you can only do what you are here to do, and you're not here to convince others. Clients who are not believing or needing it to be something else, as many of these questions have been, perhaps just aren't the right client for you. And so you may give them grace, help them as you can, and if they continue to come, help them in the best best way that you can. And they will just have to make up their own mind, and they may not always stay. However, you may attract a better client by understanding what it is that you do, and by taking each one of these difficulties and learning from them, learning to create a language of explaining what it is that you do, what your Reiki helps people with the most, what your flavor is of Reiki, what you experience with your clients. And with this understanding through these clients who may come into your life just for this purpose, to help you come up with this language, then you will be able to attract the perfect client, as you will be able to speak to that client by talking about exactly what you do and what your Reiki or what your healing really is. And so it all has a purpose. That was a fantastic answer. Okay, let's see. And then we have a few other questions. Nina has another question. Should we protect ourselves in any way from the negative energy of clients so nothing sticks to our own energy field? Nina, that should have been taught to you in Reiki 1. Yes, most definitely you should have an ability to do that. I teach my Reiki students to say nothing attaches to me from any client and nothing from me attaches to the client, and to make a sacred circle, which you can look up on my website. It's in the free Spirit Guide Masterclass bundle, or it's on my YouTube channel. Carol, I'll come back to this question, but I can answer this for you also. You know, not everybody feels things in the same way. They're just, people don't feel. So with receivers who have a hard time with this, I tell my students to take a number 1 through 10 on different emotional states, or, you know, pain, thoughts, things like that. How are you feeling? And then ask them before and after, and that can help them understand that they had said 8 and the exact same question, make sure it's the same. They are now saying it's a 2, or they had forgotten about that. Yes, that's way better. Is one way that you can really work with people who just aren't that in touch with their bodies in that way. I want to answer all the questions, but I do have a limit here of time. So Connie says, how long does a Reiki session keep the client cleared or healed? I'm going to answer this question for you, Connie. That has to do with your client receiving the information you bring forward that they need to do, whatever is that you're getting that they should do going forward. Hopefully you're getting information for your client, or some ideas that are channeled, even if it doesn't feel that way, where you can tell them to do something and they should be able to continue that work. So there's so much that keeps clients from being cleared afterwards. So when you clear them, let's say you do a great job, you clear, you're a master teacher, you clear entities, you heal them, but then they don't want to let go of that entity, and so they just attract another identical one right afterwards, then, you know, that's not on you. Now you can work to teach people about how they have to release, and you can teach them different techniques, like, you know, that just to let it go, because talking about like this horrible entity I had, talking about it brings in more. It can keep you unclear. Like there's a whole bunch of things that people do that makes them not clear after, or they might have portals in their house or something like that. So for clearing, you know, you really have to understand all of that. I do teach all that in my master teacher, Psychic Reiki Healing. How long does a Reiki session keep a person healed is a whole other question. I mean, like he was saying before, do you heal someone of 20 years worth of stuff in one session? You know, how long do their chakras stay clear? I guess as long as they stay in a higher vibration and they don't get kicked out of it. But we're humans, so we get kicked out of it. Carol, I'll ask your question too. So let's ask Usui. How long does a Reiki session keep the client cleared or healed? This is very variable. It depends on the healer and it depends on the client. The healer may have many different techniques. They may have a speed in which they work. Perhaps they're very advanced. They do a lot in 20 minutes. And an hour session is full of healing, deep healing, many layers, many emotions and blocks and other clearing that is needed for the client. Then the client should stay clear as long as they accept all of the healing, that they do what they should going forward. Or perhaps the practitioner is still learning and is a little bit slower with healing, which is not worse or better. It is just different as they learn. And so if the session's not long enough, perhaps they didn't get to everything. Perhaps it's only a 30-minute session, so they can only get to some of it. Well, what they have healed should stay clear. However, there might be some healing that was needed to go with it. So it is important as a Reiki practitioner to understand what what kind of time limit is best for you to do a healing for others. That way you know what is a full session or what is not. And then you can let your client know who can't afford a whole session that they understand it is a partial session and that more healing is needed. And you must always tell your client when they should come back. When do they need another healing? For healing is done in layers. It is not a one and done problem or healing. The healing itself needs many layers. And so you must be able to bring this information forward somehow. If you're not receiving psychic messages, perhaps you can work on divination or just trusting the messages that you receive from your guides and helpers, from your Reiki master helpers in spirit, such as myself. And you will be able to also see from your own clients when you feel that is pretty normal when they need another session. And all of these things put together can help you with understanding when your client needs to come back, when you recommend that they have another session. It is a time in ascension when everyone should be getting clearings and healings regularly, which is another reason to be up-leveled with a Reiki 1 attunement, for you can also Reiki yourself, which is very important. Okay, that's a good answer. All right, and to answer Carol's question, why is it that sometimes the receiver doesn't feel it even though I can? Which I answered, but let's see what Dr. Usui says. Sometimes there can be some resistance. That does not mean that they aren't healed, however. They will still be healed, but they may not believe the healing that they have received, and so they don't feel anything. Sometimes people just don't feel things in the way that they think they should. And in this way, they have felt something, but they don't believe what they have felt. So there's many, many different ways that people don't feel anything in a session. It does not mean that they have not received it. I also recommend a scale to help you understand and help them understand how healing has taken place by taking a number of pain before and after, or of emotional conflict, or of how calm they are, how much anxiety they have, things of this nature. Okay. All right, Christina has a great question. I want to learn how to do Reiki so I can heal others, but I'm worried I won't do it correctly. Any advice? Oh my gosh, Christina, you can't do it wrong. It's once you're attuned, it's very easy to do. You just have an intention and it comes right out your hands. I have a great Reiki blog post if you want to read about it on my site at Soundwaves Heal. You can go to the blog and just search Reiki, and it's called something like What is Reiki, or All About Reiki. I have a couple of blog posts, but that's the main one, and it talks a lot about all these things. So you can't do it incorrectly. But let's ask Dr. Sue. All you need is trust, my dear one, and you can bring forth the Reiki ray, and you will surprise yourself, speculating on how it will work, or worrying that something you haven't done yet might not work if you haven't tried it. And so I suggest that you try it and leave your mind open to experience something incredible. Oh, well, that's a great answer. I was told to get good at prayer. Okay. I mean, prayer has such a big definition, doesn't it? Okay. To be a better energy healer, you just need to trust that what you are doing is working, and to open yourself, expand your senses, and expand your healing, to expand your world. Reiki will help you reach higher dimensions, and it will help you then communicate with higher dimensional helpers. And all of this is part of your learning. It is all connected. And so if you want to get better, then you can learn to communicate with your helpers and guides. And all you have to do is ask and take the time to meditate, to trust what you get, to really trust. I would second that. That's exactly what I do, is teach people that. And if you get my free Spirit Guide Masterclass bundle, which is on my site, soundwavesheal.com/spirit guides, or under the courses button in the menu, it's free. The Masterclass talks about that. So I think that's really important. If you can get to know your spirit guides, they can really, really help you. That's where I always start with channeling. And he's right. And that's exactly what I believe. Healing and channeling, psychic channeling, it all goes together. Our psychic senses are opening. It's just that most people don't trust the messages they're getting, or they don't trust that they are actually receiving messages. They think they're making it up. I find that's the biggest problem, and that's the problem that I help with the most in my trance channeling courses, and to help you really get there. But you can get a great taste of some information on that and how to start with my Spirit Guide Masterclass bundle. Thank you, Ashley. I'm glad you think it's value rich. Very good. Oh, did I answer all the questions? Fantastic. And I answered your question, Nina, your third question. So I think that's good. So I think now I want to give the healing. So let's see. So Usui wanted to give you a Reiki blessing healing. So let's do that. Reiki blessing healing from Dr. Usui. I'm going to channel him. Of course, I'm going to use liquid Reiki, shamanic sound healing. That is my gift, what I do. And of course, I do help people attune to liquid Reiki sound healing and attune to shamanic realms and to higher realms, learn how to trance channel. So if you're interested in becoming a master at many things, working in higher dimensional realms, trance channeling all types of beings and their healing, and really committing to this work as a light worker, I'd love to help you become a master. And if you want more information, you can go to soundwavesheal.com/channel, or it's just very easy if you want to just sign up for a Zoom call with me, which you can on my site. I also have the page about the course, and I have a form to fill out for qualification as well. So let's bring Dr. Usui in for a Reiki blessing healing for everyone. I ask that you take a moment for yourself and stop what you're doing. However, if you cannot, you may receive anyway. But if you can, stop and place one hand on your heart or do it in your mind's eye. I send you this Reiki blessing healing. And I will add sound as it is appropriate to do so through this medium. Okay. Thank you all so much. I'm Rachel Chamness at soundwavesheal.com. I hope that if you don't have it, you'll sign up for my Spirit Guide Masterclass at soundwavesheal.com/spirit guides. And if you're interested in working with me, either for a session or one-to-one mentorship or healing, or if you'd like to take one of my courses, then I recommend you just reach out. You can send me a message through my site or through Facebook, or you can just look on my site and sign up for a Zoom call. Okay? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening today. Please follow this podcast, like, subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you in our Facebook group 5D Daily. And be sure to sign up for my free Channeling Spirit Guides program, which you can find under resources at soundwavesheal.com. I am Rachel Chamness, and it's my pleasure to help light workers expand their channeling to heal in higher dimensions.